about you? Where'd you grow up, and how did you get into professional sports and now into broadcasting?
We grew up on a small dairy farm kind of in central Wisconsin up in Wood County. My mom and dad, we had a farm. Actually I had two farms, but our initial family farm was in Millador, and we milked about 70 cows. And so that's kind of how we started. And, I always talk about whenever I go and speak with people, it's that team and being a part of that team as a farmer, having the chores and having a job to do was, at the time, kind of a pain in the butt.
Yep.
But it ended up giving me a great foundation as far as work ethic, having to be consistent. Like this, cows need to be milked.
Yep.
The manure needs to get put out. The hay needs to be in the barn. That was kind of my youth growing up. And then that kind of went into sports. We had some land, and we played football with our neighbor kids, and we played basketball, and that was always kind of this would be the fun part. You get to do that if these things get done. So that was kind of how I grew up, and then how sports became even a bigger part, and then obviously part of my profession was just kept working. And the small town that I grew up in was Auburndale. We were good at basketball. And basketball is what ended up leading me to giving me an opportunity to play football in college, which, I haven't told that story a ton, but I was a good high school football player. I was not getting recruited by anyone. Our basketball team in Auburndale we made it to state every year. We got down to Madison my senior year. One of the coaches saw me playing basketball at the old field house. They saw that I moved my feet. I could do things that they thought could work. And from that point, Wisconsin recruited me to walk on at the University of Wisconsin. So I walked on, and then kind of the whole thing reset again. I was the 140th kid on 140. I had 140 was on my sweatpants.
Okay.
So I knew where I stood as far as where the rankings, and it was just a complete, you had to grind and work, and I was holding dummies. I was getting my eyes gouged out. I was on the practice squad. And it was kind of you were at the bottom of the pecking order, but it was just like anything else. You just kind of kept working and you kept building, and eventually I got to the point where I was on the travel team. Then I got to play, and then Green Bay ended up drafting me. I got to play my last season. We won a Rose Bowl, and I ended up getting to be drafted by the Green Bay Packers. So my story, I always tell, it's a lot about resiliency, and it's about just believing and continuing to work, and good things will happen. And me growing up on a farm was really important to everything that I was able to accomplish as a professional.
People who grow up on farms, particularly in this day and age, learn how to take care of something other than themselves. They have a responsibility, and that forces a really good work ethic and an appreciation for what has to be done before you can have your fun. I loved your story. You got to do the chores before you can go out and have fun and play. I knew that I needed to get a culinary education, so I ended up going to culinary school in France after a couple of years working outside. So I was a French-trained chef for 10 years after that, before I came into the business. And so my life has been food from start to finish. What I didn't realize, Mark, is how valuable that time in the kitchen was, which is another reason we're very big supporters, like Fox Valley Tech up in Appleton, Madison College, the Culinary Institute of America. Culinary education can give people open doors into careers that they never thought possible. It's not being a cook. I mean, there are so many opportunities in today's world. I wouldn't be where I am today had I have not learned those lessons and been exposed to that.
You're just talking about being able to solve problems, being able to, be selfless because you have no choice. You have to get things done. And when you kind of look at it from that perspective, you just keep thinking, I just keep thinking how lucky I was, even though I know when I was having to clean gutters at 5:30 or 6 in the morning and had to do it every morning, I didn't feel like I was lucky then. But I certainly now look back at it, and I tell my kids that was such a huge part of, well, how did you end up becoming a Green Bay Packer? And that's the part of it that always gets kind of left out. It's, well, you played at Wisconsin, you did this. It was more, man, that set of things that happened that you are brought up into was the big reason why I was able to kind of set that foundation. And I don't know what else besides farming would have given me that.
You had a storied career, and certainly one, to be a Badger and then a Packer and spend your whole career. If I'm not mistaken, you did your entire career with Green Bay and with the Badgers.
Yeah, I couldn't have been more fortunate. And knowing your company's history and what you guys, 7, 8 generations, I was really blessed I grew up, with Max McGee and Jim Irwin on the radio, listening to it on the farm. We'd be doing our chores or milking our cows, and we'd be wondering if Jan Stenerud was going to make a kick or if James Lofton was going to make a play. And that was all. And then we'd go play our own game after we'd get done milking cows with our neighbors. And for me, growing up in the state of Wisconsin, to be able to go and play at Wisconsin and in Green Bay, I couldn't have been more blessed. And it's just, love this state, and to be able to do it with family and friends, being able to get to games and watch, it was a really special thing for me. You're a Packer fan.
Total Packer fan.
What's your favorite generation? Were you, I don't want to age you, but the Lombardi era, obviously nobody's favorite era was the 70s or early 80s.
No. But we were loyal, dedicated fans.
Absolutely.
We know what hardship is.
No question. I always say, and I'm not going to rip Minnesota, but the 70s and 80s showed, because those are some tough times. And the season ticket list continued on. The stadium was full.
Yep.
And Packer fans are loyal, but they expect great things.
I've been to a lot of games, but I can't really say an era because they all have their own sort of magic. But truly, one of the most incredible games was the Snow Bowl, where Mike Holmgren came back as coach of the Seahawks. The Packers went down 2 touchdowns in the first 2 minutes.
I remember that game well.
And then the snow started.
Oh, yeah.
And it was an amazing game. And watching you guys have snowball fights on the field, just in good. All of a sudden, we trounced Seattle, and it was a great game. It was totally memorable.
Who would have guessed that our game, your game, that is also my favorite game.
Seriously.
And there's no doubt. It was. Now, the pain of the next week is also part of that story, but that's the beauty of sports, is that you can go from the high to the low. But that game, we have a running back puts the ball on the ground, we get it, and we fall behind, as you said, 14-0, and it never even, let's just get back to it. And the way we rebounded and went back, that is played in 140 some odd games, and that is by far my favorite that we did. So that's interesting that you I thought you were going to say, because everybody went to the Ice Bowl. Everybody had said, there's, I think.
I'm not that old.
That's what I'm saying. There's about 400,000 people at that game.
Yeah.
But that game, and you see the pictures of it afterwards, it really kind of shows the magic of Lambeau Field and the whole aura of being a Green Bay Packer.
Totally. And you mentioned Max McGee, and Max was a great customer of ours up in Edina, Minnesota, with his original pancake house.
Oh.
And loved our bacon. And it was really funny because I got introduced to Max McGee, and nobody told me who it was, but I couldn't help but notice the ring. And it wasn't, a big fancy ring, but it was pretty stately. And so lo and behold, I would have gotten nervous if somebody had said, if I had understood that he was the owner of this establishment. So I went up, talked to him. He's got his club table where all his friends would meet every day. It was wonderful, but what a gentleman and what a great, I mean, it's...
What a story about him in the Super Bowl.
Absolutely.
So did you go out and have any cold beverages with him?
No, I did not.
That's too bad. No. I can imagine the storytelling that you two
I would have loved that opportunity, I can tell you.
My last question, the recipes. Pretty tight. Nobody. How many people know the recipe?
Very few.
It's one of those deals, if I tell you, I have to kill you.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty much. And that is the one thing that makes us different from everybody else. And to that end, we still blend our own spice. We don't have somebody else do that for. We want to look at each component before it gets put into a spice blend. And that's how we control, the consistency over time. So the recipes are really important. And I can say the recipe doesn't change. Technology over time has. And you'd be crazy to say we're going to do things by hand forever. You couldn't do it in this day and age. But those are what separate us in our processes. Not just a recipe, but how we do it. Those are the distinctive differences from what one of our competitors may do. We're really a tiny company, still family owned, all these cool values and get to tell a story. And consumers today love it because it's real. And it's not contrived, it's not somebody's imagination. You can see it, you can feel it, you can touch it, and like you are, you get to visit. Late 1800s, early 1900s, we were full page advertising.
Okay.
For branded stuff. Don't go anywhere with that. Thank you.
Just think the phone goes off.
And so what? That's life. And thank you, though.
Thank you. Don't touch my sandwich.
Listen, that's a BLT. Not only a BLT, it's a mega BLT. A good one.